shamanism. Let's really get into this. So throughout that relationship, obviously, Sangeeta was highly aware of me being a shamanic practitioner. She was so understanding that on one occasion when I had a particularly difficult piece of work to do, and I wanted to make absolutely sure that she and her son was safe, but I actually needed a space within 4 walls to operate, she vacated her home for the duration so I could do this particular piece of work. And because it was just me there, absolute safety was guaranteed and all was well. So there's that memory that's coming up. The other memory that comes up about shamanism is that she was with me when the first film was made, took part, assisted. Other thing about it is that it wasn't something that she wanted to learn about herself. She didn't want to become a practitioner, but she received her own universal soul retrieval, and indeed the film was made. I don't know whatever happened to it. Probably never made it to YouTube, where she explained in detail about how that universal soul retrieval affected her and literally freed her and brought her more into being her full self. So that was wonderful. And the other really significant thing for me is that her son actually showed much more interested, and he wanted to learn, and I became very close. As I said, I fell in love with him, just like I fell in love with her. And so there was this period of time where I used to be with him at bedtime to make a change from her. She could do something else. And what we did, one of the things we did actually, just one, and we would do shamanic journeying together. And I would get the drum out and I would do what I do if I'm training a client, just take them through the process of doing the journey, guide the journey for them, and he would describe the journey afterwards. I would make notes, and a really accomplished journeyer, if at any point in his life in the future he chooses to become a shamanism, he'll just fall into it so easily. He's got all the skills there, all the abilities. So there's that. But this is not what I want to focus on. I want to focus on something else. And so I'm just going to take a little pause and say that I am now aware of the Harmala, very definitely, although the fact that I'm speaking to you has been distracting me to an extent. The awareness is increasing to the point I'm aware. It's a warmth. It's a softness. It's being held, which is great for what I have to share next. Because it was within the first year of us living apart, and for her there was the need to have an absolute disconnect eventually. It wasn't straight away. We did keep in touch for a while longer, but eventually it was an absolute disconnect. So it was after that absolute disconnect happened that I felt guided to do a journey about me and Sangeeta, so here's the thing about something that we shared in common. It was completely obvious that we had experienced lives as extraterrestrial beings, and the word she loved to use for this was the word cosmic. She saw herself as a cosmic being, and she saw me as being one too. So it was like a point of connection for us, what we could relate to. It's like we're both cosmic beings. You're a shaman, that means you're obviously a cosmic being, but you actually have got this extraterrestrial lineage because you are one of 5, aren't you? There's the 4 helpers and there's you, you're one of 5. You've got this existence going on these 2 planets, the Andromeda Galaxy. That's all part of your existence. And I've got my experience too. She was very much into out-of-body work, an accomplished out-of-body journeyer, and had been doing this years before she ever did any training about it. She's some training as well, but it's been part of her life really, out of body. So this is all kind of part of our shared experience. The Harmala is getting noticeably stronger now, so I'm going to need to cut the chase for this. So I did a journey. There I was in my own little home, north of England, drumming away, doing a journey. Right, I can feel Harmala even more strongly now. And I felt me together with her, and we were in another realm. We were in some cosmic realm, some extraterrestrial realm, not on the presence of the earth. And it was a highly advanced society, full of love and light, wonderful experiences. It was a planet which is ruled by universal unconditional love, which most of them are, let's be honest. Vast majority of all planets out there, that's the story, which is why this is such a popular destination, this planet, because it's so different. So there we are, having this extraordinary life together. At a certain point, I'm a real explorer in that lifetime, big into exploring. And she is too, but I come across a means to travel to a completely different realm, which is outside of this universe, outside of Milky Way galaxy, Andromeda galaxy, away from all this, somewhere completely different. And I discover a means to transport myself there. And I'm very excited about it. And she's the most important person in my life, in that lifetime. And I share with her about it, and we discuss, and eventually she agrees that she wants to accompany me on that journey. And we journey there together, and we find ourselves in that realm. There are no beings there, it's just us. And to our dismay, we discover we can't get back. So that lifetime is lived, the remainder of that lifetime is lived, whereby we can't get back. I drop into acceptance about that. She's unable to do so. So the remainder of that life for her is hell, because she's with this person that's responsible for getting her there, taking her there, and she can't get back to all the others that she loves in the place where we started from. And when I did that journey, I understood, in a way I'd never been able to do before, just why, when she'd reached the point that she had had enough of me, that she absolutely needed to terminate all connection. And that was so painful. And part of being human is to accept that we've got these wounds. And people use these different words like heartache, heartbroken. It reminds me of a different relationship I had, where I was in love with this person was having a relationship with me, but they weren't really, at that point, they weren't committed the way I was, which enabled them to act in a very cruel manner. And I can remember once doing a drawing and writing on the drawing, "My broken heart lies bleeding on the ground." And that's how I felt at that moment in that relationship. But can you imagine what I felt like when I came back from that journey, when all the puzzle pieces fitted into place, and I realized it wasn't just Sun conjunction Uranus. Actually, I would have brought back that original primal pain of being disconnected from everything and everyone except for me. So no wonder, away. And so I did. And I would estimate it took me about 3 years to get over that relationship. And what do I say when I mean get over? Because this is my thing, you see. Every person I have ever loved, I still love them to this day. So my feelings for her remain unchanged. In fact, those are the words. That was a mantra that came out of my mouth in those months between the end of the physical relationship until I left the home And then after I left the home until the final shutdown, if I was ever asked what's going on for me, it would always be, well, so how do you feel now? Now we're not intimate. How do you feel now we're not together? How do you feel now that we're hundreds of miles apart but we're still communicating? How do you feel? My feelings are unchanged. And I'd ask myself the question 2 years after the last communication, it would be like, my feelings are unchanged. And that, I feel, is my greatest gift in life, that I am able to do that. And it's because I'm a shaman that I can do that. One of the greatest gifts of being a shaman is to understand that linear time does not exist. It is a construct. So it exists only in terms of being a construct, but ultimately it's an illusion. So for me, right now, I'm having this conversation with you. I'm also with Waxara in Tenerife. I'm also with Sangeeta in the particular parts of the country that we lived in. I'm also with Maya in the particular part of the country that we lived in. I'm also with that other person in that particular place, and I'm also with my daughter. I'm with my son. I'm with Cinda when we first met, when we got married. I'm with Cinda when she's in the hospital. I'm with Cinda when she's dying. I am with all people that I have ever known at all times and all places all the time. And it's helpful that the Harmala is with me as I'm saying that, because it helps me to be able to say it with a sense of authenticity and authority which completely transcends any other consideration. What I learnt from shamanism, number one, this is me having an experience, this is you having an experience. Number two, linear time was a construct. Now this is not just some philosophical point. This is actually what saves me in my current relationship with my partner, who is so many thousands of kilometers away. The relationship with who I've just been speaking about, because I have a consciousness and my consciousness can travel just like that. And I'm with Sangeeta and my mum, and we're in the kitchen, and I can picture the kitchen. I know what the furniture looks like, the units. I'm familiar with the table. I've got that canvas in front of me, and I'm getting the paint and I'm putting it on, and I've got the sequins and I've got the little stones, and I'm going to put them on when I'm ready. I'm not ready yet because I'm actually putting the paint on at the moment, and mine is not orange, green and yellow. Mine are different colours actually. Mine are purple and blue, and doesn't matter. But you see what I'm saying? This is a gift that we all have. The only qualification you require is imagination. So the gift that shamans have is because they've been polishing and honing their active imaginations for all these years of been doing all this work for all their clients. It is not second nature, it's first nature. My first nature is to be able to be anywhere in the space and time, just like that, which is how I was able to speak to you about the people I've been speaking to you about this morning, including Sangeeta, including her son, because I'm there. One of my abiding memories is when I was getting to know her, and I was visiting her home, and she hadn't lived there for very long, and out of the back door there was a huge pile of cardboard boxes. She just bunged them out the back door. That'll do. And that was good enough for her, but I felt like I wanted to contribute, so I got in. So I got it all organised and filled up her car with the cardboard, and we took them to the tip until it was all done. And as I'm saying those words, I'm loading the cardboard into the car. This is one of the greatest gifts of being humans, with the shamanic understanding that you can go anywhere in space-time, so no one is ever lost to you. I can be with my dad right now. I'm with my dad. I'm watching him flatlining in the hospital. I'm looking at the monitor screens. And my mum and one sister out and me and the other sister there. We're watching it drop, watching it drop, watching it drop. And I'm feeling this sense of impending anticipation because my father regards being in intensive care to be in prison. He wants it over. He wants it done. And I'm feeling a sense of rising anticipation because I know he's going to get his own way. He prepared himself so well before he died. He went on loads of retreats in the religion of his choice. Yeah, I can remember him coming back from retreat and talking about it. It's all there. It's all available for us. And then the other thing, so we've got the first one, isn't it? The first one I mentioned, right? The medicine is so strong, you have to scroll back to get that. I just mentioned the second one. Let's go to the third one now. It's always all about the love. There are times when I feel resentment towards a person that's currently alive and I'm not seeing them anymore. There are times I experience that. There's times other people feel resentment against me or judgment against me. There's times I just don't want to communicate with someone for maybe a day or a week. Or maybe someone doesn't want to communicate with me for a week, a year, 10 years, more than 10 years. My brother, my son, cases in point, relevant. It's always all about the love because these are just little ego things. The biggest perspective of all is I can go back to those moments when me and my son were sharing the love. When me and my brother were sharing the love and the excitement. When we both discovered music from Jamaica together at the same point, and when this Jamaican dude came into his flat with this record, put it on the turntable, and we were listening to Red, Gold and Green by Ayahuasca. It's going to be in the links. It's on YouTube. You can listen to it for yourself. Peace on earth and love to all mankind, as I would say. Those are the very first words the guy utters, that with such depth, with such power, with such heart. And I can do that because I'm a shaman and I can access that memory just like that. Because my active imagination is so polished, so honed, it's like a magic mirror. And that's why, if you're interested in, yeah, let's just say it, come on. If you're interested in shamanic training, if you'd like to train to become a shaman, well, in the description, there's an email address. And I invite you to email me if you're interested in training to become a shaman. And if you don't want to become a shaman, but you would like to have a series of shamanic experiences which will not qualify you to be a healer, but will qualify you to do what I've just done, because I'm there. It's Iroy, he's on the timetable. Black Paul, that's what his name for himself was. Everyone called him Black Paul. Jamaican dude. He's putting it on the turntable and he's blowing our consciousnesses, because that man just sang these words. Peace on earth and to all mankind, as I would say. And that's if you're hooked, just like that. If you're interested, I'm your man. I'll train you. I'll induct you, initiate you into shamanic experiences if you're interested. There will be films coming out on the channel with a more formal invitation, but it just felt appropriate to say it right now. So thank you very much for being with me. And I would estimate I would have been in the medicine for 45 minutes now. Strong. Respecting and loving the plants, as always. And you can tell by my voice, by my demeanour, how what happens when we work with the plants, it's a symbiotic relationship. The plant becomes human, the human becomes plant-like. We meet in the middle, like the macabre in a sense, and we form this third being. It's great. Loving the plants, loving you. Much love.